You want to start recording?
Velma, did you say 1, 2, and what?
1, 2, 3.
1, 3, 6, and 7. Thank you.
We're all set, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Let's see what time it is. Got one more minute. So you got the boys coming in?
Yeah.
Good. We are gonna roll hills?
Just go to Derby, I think.
Okay, I was gonna say, we can show up that man, harass the table. We may be. All right, good morning. We're the 2021 Board of Equalization and Review for Union County. We have been appointed by the county commissioners to hear any and all taxpayers with respect to their concerns or complaints regarding the valuation of their property for tax purposes. Property owners appearing before the Board of Equalization and Review have the right to a fair and equitable hearing. The Board of Equalization and Review has been charged with ensuring that the proper legal principles have been applied in a valuation dispute for tax purposes. And here's the format. The clerk calls the case and locates the property or explains the situation of his personal property. The appellant presents his or her case. The assessor's office offers their defense. Both parties will have the opportunity to conclude their comments. All questions should be directed to me or the board. The taxpayer will be notified in writing of the board's decision. By statute, the burden of proof is on the taxpayer to demonstrate that the assessment is erroneous. I'd ask that you please silence your cell phones. As soon as we hear the deliberations, we'll go into the phase where we decide whether the county or you are correct. At that time, neither questions will not be accepted. All right, let's hear the first case.
Tab number 1, parcel ID number 08234003003, Diz Vela.
Ms. Dees?
So I'm just going to go ahead and locate the property for
Sure.
y'all, just to give you a basis where it's at. So Ridge Road, the green little square around the property, is off Duncan Road, right off Ridge Road, and this property is located, it's kind of right in between Ridge and Unionville Indian Trail Road.
Good morning, Ms. Dees. If you would step over to the microphone, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Sort of feel like the average citizen performing brain surgery here. I have no earthly idea what I'm doing.
Well, we don't either.
That's promising, I think. First, I would like to applaud everybody that I've been involved with, Brent especially, Velma. Great phone etiquette, great report, good customer service. So I don't have any complaints, except I sold groceries all my life, and I knew if a person came in my store and asked for Oscar Mayer bologna, I didn't try to sell them cheese. And I'm unique that way, where I sit in my property. When you try to bring up comps, there are none. So I guess I'm really trying to determine how, now they sent me 4, but actually, to me, you added, subtracted, made adjustments, changed the location, and said, whoopee-doo, this is something like what you have. And I don't think that's true necessarily. I just think it's been overpriced as far as the tax value goes. My neighbor that joins me has 2 acres, nice brick home, and probably half the age of my situation, and she had hers reduced. And I'm thinking, well, if that's the case, maybe I should try anyway. Now, as far as any more paperwork, as far as anything to go by, all day long, if you put that in the computer or my computer, it comes up no comps. So I kind of think I'm unique where I am. I know I'm non-conforming. I'm aware of all of that. But that's my case, basically. I just think the value was just exceeded what I actually have.
So so you have a little mobile home park on this property?
Yes, I do.
And how many lots do you have?
12.
12? Do you own the mobile homes or just own the lots?
No, I just own the lots.
Okay, so you charge a land
Land
use,
fee,
rent, whatever?
that's correct.
Mhm. Do you live on this property?
Yes, I do. My house is actually in that picture somewhere.
Okay.
I'm on the very back of the 13.66 acres.
Do you have, how many wells do you have on the property?
None. Well, I had one that we, when county water came in, I put county water at every
Okay.
spot, including my home.
How about septic? Do you have a septic system or you have?
Every mobile home has a septic system, and my house does as well.
So now you said 12, you have 12 rental units and yours is 13, right? So you have 13 septic tanks on the property? Okay. Is the open land farmed?
Randy Balcom actually farms part of my land.
Okay. It's a total of almost 13, 14 acres, is that what?
Almost
Okay.
14, yeah, 13.66.
Okay. Mike, you got any questions for Ms. Dees?
Just a ballpark figure of what you.
I'm sorry.
Just a ballpark figure of what you charge per lot. You said land.
Okay, so are we going on the attitude that this is income producing property? Is that the reason for that question?
Yes,
Okay.
because it is.
Yes, it is income producing property, but COVID taught us last year that can change in a heartbeat. So, and it's only as good as I run that mobile home park and keep it up to par, and as Randy says, you're not an eyesore, and that's true. I try to maintain it, but somebody else might go in there and not be able to do that. So I don't think income really comes into play here.
I'm gonna disagree with you, but that's all right. I'm gonna disagree with you, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's okay. Listen, I'm 72 years old. I've been wrong more than one time.
You got any more questions, Mike?
No.
Dutch, you got any questions?
How many acres are farmed?
You've asked the question I should have asked Randy before I came, because I actually made a note that you would probably ask that. I don't know,
More than
8 to
10?
10, maybe as much as 11.
So 8 to 11. And then it just looks like to me, this is more of a statement than a question, that the majority of the value is centered in the land. Yeah, the majority of the value, it looks like, is centered in the land, as far as the value that the
Well-
county has on it.
The mobile home park comes up one side. Randy goes from the road all the way back in the center, and then my house is on the left side of the property.
Right.
It actually joins the Edwards property.
And I know Mike asked, what your opinion of value was. Do you have an opinion of value of just the land, the acreage, on a per acre basis, what you feel like it's worth?
Not really, because it's so diversified in that area. I would say anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 an acre.
Right, okay. I don't have any other questions.
Ray, you got any questions?
Yes, ma'am. On your appeal form, you had a opinion of value for the whole property of around $294,000. It's on the form here.
Are you referring to the value that I indicated in the appeal?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, see, it had been valued at $293, I believe. Sometimes you can have too many notes. I think the value was like 223.9, and then it went up to 523 $2,300, which was like $229,400 increase in 1 year.
Yeah, that first number you gave, that was the last revaluation value, 220, whatever it was.
293.
Okay. Yeah, that's what you had on your form.
Anything else, Ray?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm done.
You done? Okay. Well, Ms. Dees, if you don't mind, we'll hear from the county now.
I'm
I
sorry.
said, if you don't mind, we'll hear from the county now. Thank you.
So we're finished?
When we're finished, we're gonna hear from the county side of it.
Thank you
And
very much.
we may come back to you.
I appreciate you even listening, and I
Sure.
thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
So, as Ms. D stated, this is a unique property in that area, and it is a mobile home park. And when we ran the comparable sales report, we had a lot of houses that were very similar. The thing we didn't have similar was the land. So most of the adjustments are coming in the land value. And when we have a situation like this with a mobile home park, we do add like a very poor home site for each of those. So she is receiving a home site for all 12 of the mobile homes, and that's just what's driving up the land value in this case.
Did you say a very poor?
Yes, sir. That's how we have it termed in, in here we
Okay.
price it. We don't give it the same rate as a primary home site's gonna get for a normal
Okay.
parcel. We give it a reduced rate, but we are accounting for a home site for each mobile home on the property.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's about all I have for it.
Okay. Ray, you got any questions?
Yeah, what's the value on the house? Her house? I don't see it on the sheet.
Ms. Dees, is your home also a mobile home?
It's manufactured, it was a modular home,
Okay.
49 years old.
Okay, thank you.
It's
118.
So the rest of it's on the land, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it appears all the mobile homes are personal property, so 118.3 is the home, the 405 is, we have the land itself at about 195, and then we have all the home sites at 210.
Okay. And the last question I have is, on our comp sheet, you've got quality fair plus. Is that for her house?
Yes, sir. The Fair Plus is for her house. There weren't many Fair Plus sales, so you'll see on the comps, if it was average, it takes off an additional amount for the $22,000 to bring it down to like what a Fair Plus would be.
Okay, I got one more. On the comp sheet, it says sale price and date, September of 2018. What was sold? What's that? What does that mean?
Oh, that's on her sale. It has a NA right before it. I don't know if something might have been changed with a deed or something at that time, but there was no sales price, if that's the one you're talking about up under her property.
Okay, that's all I have, Randy.
Dutch, you have anything?
No, I'm just trying to get my arms around the home site value on those different sites and this, how the acreage is looked at in relation to that. Because that's where the value is.
Yes, sir. So, her 13.66 acres is priced just like any other parcel that has 13.66
Okay.
acres in that area. The difference for the mobile home sites is coming from her 12 mobile home sites. So we're putting a little bit of value on each of those. I think it is $17,500 for each mobile home site out there. And that's what equals the $210,000.
That was 17 what on each site?
17,500
Yeah, which would be similar to how we treat mobile home.
throughout the
sites.
whole county.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any other questions.
And just a little more information, typically, if it was just a single home site, we would charge $35,000. On these multiple ones, we have to, then multiply by the number of sites.
Right.
Because we recognize it's not the landscaping, the view, the so on, it would be different.
Okay.
Mike, you have anything?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
there was a question about how much of the land was farmed. I don't have that acreage, but I can tell you, looking at the information we have available online, it does not qualify for present use value based on the number, because of the number of home sites that are on the property. So that farm piece is not there. I think that's what you were kind of getting at by your question.
Any mobile home park sites that you use as comparables? I mean, I know that they maybe have sales, but how about the one on 200 North, right above New Salem Road, it's on both sides of the road?
I mean, I did not look at that property, but what I can state to that, this is what we used. This is how we valued mobile home sites throughout the county. So the same principles have applied, and I haven't seen any that had sold.
I don't have anything else. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Bill, move on.
Tab number 2, parcel ID number 09-105-104 is being rescheduled. Moving to tab number 3, parcel ID number 06-225-152. Morrow.
Good morning. Locate the property for you. This is in the Providence Downs neighborhood in Marvin. You're going to be at the intersection of Newtown Road and Waxhaw Marvin Road. Would y'all like a closer up of the dwelling as it is, or to see a location?
I'm good.
Okay.
You got it?
I'm good.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, thank you guys for having us here today, and ladies. My name is Bruce Morrill. I'm the homeowner.
I'm Marcus Crowe.
Marcus
I'm
Crowe.
attorney. I'm going to help him go over the comps that he has and what the county has.
Good morning, Mr. Crowe.
How are you doing?
So I live at 1316 Lookout Circle there, and in our neighborhood, most of the homes are custom-built homes, so it's very hard to do comparables from one house to the next. So when looking at the 5 comps that were presented to evaluate my property, 4 out of those 5 comps are way overvalued compared to my property for various reasons, but
I'll say also that they're one-of-a-kind properties, so you're comparing a one-of-a-kind property that is way out of what a normal house would be to what his is. And I think all the 4 of the 5 comps have extensive outdoor, I mean, we'll go over it line by line, comp by comp, but they're houses that have extensive landscaping, pools, spa areas, and didn't take into account when comparing his house.
yeah, so 4 out of the 5 properties do have pools, they have pool houses, they have fire pits, they have outside fireplaces, they have kitchenettes, lanais, one of them has a waterfall and a grotto in their pool. Extensive landscaping. Most of the properties have rounded driveways in the front. Besides the side driveway, I just have a side driveway. They have, every one of them has a larger lot than my lot. One of the properties actually has a basketball court built in the backyard. And then inside the house, uniqueness of the house, a lot of these properties have custom done floors. They have extensive kitchens. A lot of them have upgraded kitchens. My house is the same as it was when it was built in 2017. I'm sorry, 2007. I bought the house in 2017, and we have not done any upgrades into the property or the house. I also have 4 boys and 4 dogs that have torn up my floors and so forth, but, which will have to be redone before we sell the house at some point in the future. So I have a sheet, and I think you guys have the packets that I had printed out, which shows every single one of the comps. The first one is kind of an outline of what the differences are between their properties and my properties, and then followed by that is the comps that the county used against my property, or to compare it against my property. I do have an appraisal in here that was done last year in February 24th of 2020 when I refinanced my house. And one of the more important things on this is I'm not sure where the square footage of the house comes in from, but on page 2 of my appraisal, it's showing my property at 7,144. The county's showing 7,223. Okay, not a huge difference, but a little bit of difference there, where the appraiser came in and measured everything.
What's that value, Mr. Morrow?
The square footage?
No, the appraisal. What's that?
125. 125. So, but when we compare the properties, really my property does not compare to any of the properties that the county listed, except for maybe comp number 4, which does not have a pool and all the additional stuff in the backyard and so forth. The lot's about the same size, a little bit larger, but not much. And they came in 190 or 169 a square foot. Okay. If we look at each of the individual properties, I have colored pictures of every one of the properties, showing the extensive outdoor amenities that they do have. Again, the pools, the hot tubs, the fireplaces, the kitchenettes, the fire pits, the grills, bars, grottos, waterfalls, extensive landscaping and so forth.
I'll go one at a time, because if you look at the first comp that the county has.
Hey, Mr. Crowe,
Sorry.
step up to the microphone if you don't mind.
I'm
Appreciate
sorry.
that. Thank you,
Sorry
sir.
about that.
No,
So,
that's no problem.
I mean, I can just describe how the county used the comps that are basically not what a normal house would have, and they're just using this. If you and I were looking at it, we say, oh, this is 200 square foot, but when you look at it in detail, and the county doesn't tell you this, look at comp number 1, it's a 1621 lookout, and if you see the subject that they've given out, it has all these added features. If you look at the picture here on comp number 1, that's something that is not displayed when you tell us that this is the value of the house. But you can see how extensive the pool, the backyard, those, I mean, just looking at the outdoor, if you look at comp 1, just looking at the outdoor living space, they have an outdoor pool, outdoor fireplace, outdoor, living area. And fire pit, things like that. So that's the first one why I don't think comp 1 that the county used is not relevant, because they're not even taking into account that's probably 300,000, 400,000 of what you would consider upgrades in value. And comp number 2.
And I just want to mention on comp number 1 too, the square footage on this came out to 162 a square foot. Okay.
And that's with all the
That's-
housing upgrades in the backyard and stuff. And the reason why, and the worst one is comp number 2. If you want to look at the picture on comp number 2, that the color picture there, the house is totally one of a kind. If you look at the pictures, you see the front, it has a circular flat driveway. It has an outdoor pool house. It has a basketball court. It has a big pool. It has outdoor living area. And the space on it, it looks like a compound. So I think when the county uses this as a comparable, I don't know what it would be compared to, because that's one of a kind house. And you're just looking at the county's looking at the raw numbers and saying, hey, the square footage of this should be comparable to a house that has no upgrades on it. So, I mean, if you peel through comp number 2, you'll see the outdoor kitchen. Everything's in color. The basketball court, flat lot. It's a bigger lot, bigger garage.
And
That's
gi-
why,
And give me an idea of the size of the lot, that my lot is .56 acres. This one is .91, and they're valuing the property at the same valuation, $245,000 for their property and my property. Their property's flat, mine's on a hill. So it's a big difference in the property size.
and I think if you compare it to a vehicle, it's like you're comparing a work truck package for a F-150, and you're comparing a turbo diesel engine V8 with all the upgrades in it, and you're saying, you know, square footage, we got the same value, so we're good. But in reality, I think 4 of the 5 comps are unique, one-of-a-kind houses with, immaculate upgrades. So if you look at comp 3, it's 1635, the comp the county used. If you look at the color picture on that, this has like a sort of a lazy river on the front page. It's got a lanai, it's got huge pool, it's got outdoor kitchen, it's got what you would ever think of as what they would consider an outdoor oasis. So,
Yeah, this is the one that has the grotto, which is the cave inside the pool, with the waterfall, has a bridge over the lazy river part.
the spa,
The spa.
extensive, if you look at just the backyard, that's easily $300,000 that's upgraded that the county never tells anyone about. Hey, we're using upgrade that his has no backyard that has anything on it, and this has extensive landscaping. If you look through this comp, you can see the color pictures of the lanai, you can see the color pictures of the grotto, the waterfall coming down, and you can see the color picture of the outdoor space.
And the rounded driveway here too, so.
As far as all the comps that they've used too, they have bigger lots, they have bigger, what you would consider garages. So we're not even looking at just the outdoor space. There are so many things that the county did not take into account that they just look at the square numbers on it. If you dig deeper, you can see why that sold for, why this one sold for 1.57. Yes, because it had an extra $300,000 worth of upgrades that a normal house, wouldn't have, that he didn't have any upgrades on. So if you look in the last page on that, the kitchen, it's immaculate. So, we can go over each description, but this is definitely an upgraded kitchen. That's not something that was built and kept there from 2007. So that's comp number 3. So those 3 that they've used, the county has used, are one-of-a-kind houses. They're not basically ones that would be a standard house an ordinary person would have. So, and the county didn't state that when they ran these numbers. So comp number 4, though, this is the one house that they did not have a pool and they didn't have a large backyard. So if you look at comp number 4, the colored picture on that, you can see that it's a normal house just like his. It doesn't have the big, large upgrades. Now this one only sold for 1.05, so a little over 1 million. So you can see the difference of if county's going to say, hey, the backyard means nothing, the outdoor space means nothing. There's a difference right there. This one sold for 160, I think it was 162 a square foot. So if you look at comp number 4 in this picture right here, that doesn't have all the elaborate trim, doesn't have the huge backyard with all the upgrades on it. So if you look at the comp number 4, the pictures on it, that's similar to what his has because it doesn't have the exorbitant backyard landscape. It's basically flat backyard and none of the expert trimming that's normally known for the other 3 comps. So if you were to use a normal house, I would say 162 a square foot, which was what this sold for, would be more in line of what his house would be than what you would consider 200 square foot with all the pool and things like that. So even if you look at all the backyard, things like that, there's none of that, and that only sold for $1,050,000. So as far as
And the lot size is about the same. It's just a tad bit bigger, but about the same size. Theirs is .58 acres, mine was .56. The one difference there, they do have a 175 square foot larger garage than my garage, but other than that, very similar.
And the last one, I think the most egregious one the county's had, is that they're trying to compare a one-of-a-kind house to other houses in the neighborhood. I think the county should not even use this house as an example. If you look at comp 5 and the color pictures on it, you can see this stands out by far way above what a normal house would be. So one of the things that just looking at the pictures, this says they have a 1,600 square foot pool house, outdoor living area, 2-story. Now, I mean, you can compare that to a house that doesn't have a pool, doesn't have a pool house, doesn't have extensive pool work. If you look at comp 5, if you look at the photos on that, it looks like a Tuscan mansion. So, and you're looking at what they don't tell you is if you look at the large pool, the outdoor kitchen, you look at, they even say they have a 2-story guest house on that. So yes, that might sell for 200 square foot, but does the county say that, hey, you know, we're taking into account 1,600 extra square foot of outdoor guest house? I mean, if you look at the other pictures on there, they have a large playhouse area that's got similar basketball flooring. I mean, it has everything you would think on it. It has a sauna, it has wine room, it has, if you look at all the pictures, fire pit, outdoor covered area, fireplace, even the elaborate, if you look at some of the woodwork, if you just thumb through the 5th comp, you thumb through the foot, just the actual trim work on it is way above and beyond a normal house. So I don't think, even if you look at the wine cellar woodwork, that can't honestly be used by the county as a comparable for a normal house. I mean, I think that's disingenuous. If you look at one of the pictures here of, toward the end of what you would see the closets, I mean, just the woodworking on the closets probably 50 or 100,000, normal house. So it's even in a high-end area. They have everything that you'd possibly think of. It has a sauna, it has outdoor jacuzzi, it has theater room, pool house, things like that. So when you're using those comps to compare a normal house, I don't think the county should be using this as any example for what you would consider a normal house when it's a one-of-a-kind house.
Yeah, and this house and the other one that's on Gato del Sol, those are in a court, in the court. So mine's on the main road, goes in and out.
Well, and all the ones that have the high values on it, they all have circular driveways. They're all flat lots, and they're all bigger lots, bigger garages, and obviously way upgrades that a normal person wouldn't have if you didn't do any upgrades when they bought the house. It's really from 2007. I mean, I think the last thing you go over is the comps that if the county's going to use the high comps, these are the comps. If you look at the last sheet I have, these are 3 comps from the neighborhood, same neighborhood. And these were all 3 that were sold in 2020. So there's 1504 Venetian, 121 Strike the Gold, and 9304 Sir Huron. So these none had pools in them, okay, or extensive landscaping. And if you look at what I wrote here, the average price per square foot is $164. So you're talking about all the extensive upgrades for the 4 comps that the county used. Yes, they were worth it because they spent $300,000 or $400,000 on the upgrades. These are ones that sold within the last year that didn't have a pool or extensive upgrades, and those were $164 square foot. So, I mean,
And these are all similar size homes and lots. You know, their garages are all a little bit bigger again than mine.
but the county was disingenuous in using 4 comps that were one-of-a-kind houses. The 3 comps that I have here, if you looked at it for 164 square foot, that puts it at 1.19. So,
Well, let me stop you right there and see if we have any questions. Ray, you have any questions for Mr. Moore? Dutch?
I get it, you know, I'm kind of, the one thing I'm looking at, you know, with the finishes and the extras that these, you know, have on it. Do you have similar pictures of your home like this to compare it to?
I could bring it up online if you wanted, so.
And we can maybe, I think we can get it here too.
Yeah,
You know, but
yeah,
I was
you
just
can.
curious, these are
Yeah.
good color pictures here, but we don't have the good color pictures of your house.
Yeah, the only, well, the backyard, that's the only picture I have in that packet there, but we can pull it up online, and the only thing that we've changed in our house is we did some painting inside the house, so, and that's it, just to, you know, they had some splashy colors, red and yellows in the house, and we just made it all neutral, so.
Okay.
But that's basically it, so.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Mike, you got any questions? Well, if you don't mind, we'll come back to you. We'll hear from the county.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. Well, that's a lot of information. It's the first time I've seen it. Had not had a chance to look over it until this morning here at the meeting, so it would have been nice to have it ahead of time. I could have did some research on the comps, some of the information they're saying about the pools and the outdoor living space. I will say that if you look at my comps, which they've already gone over very thoroughly, comp number 1, 1621 Lookout Circle, it did sell for 1.525. We have a market value of 1,464.1 on the subject. That's a difference of $65,000. We are accounting for, in our comp report, it automatically adjusts for any other improvements. So these pools and outdoor living spaces, and I'm not saying that we have everything out there listed 100%. People come in and add upgrades, and sometimes we're not aware of it. So if this had been brought to my attention beforehand, I could have investigated a little bit further and had some more thorough information for you. But I'm relying on the comp report to adjust for those amenities, those extras that we would have, only that we would have listed. So it's adjusting for that. Comp number 1 is very comparable in size, but again, it's sold for $65,000 more than what we have on the subject, which would account for some outdoor living space. Comp number 3 sold for $90,000 more than what we have the subject on, and it's about 900 square foot smaller than the subject home. So there's more value added in that. All sales are from Providence Downs, within a half a mile of the subject. All of my comps range from 6,300 to 8,300 square foot. All properties are the same quality. Now to speak to the inside of, I believe Dutch asked about the subjects, photos of the subject. There should be some in your packet.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, they can say a one-of-a-kind house, but we're in a neighborhood, we're in an area where, you know, all these homes are one-of-a-kind homes. He may not have the outdoor living space, the pool, but he most definitely has the outdoor, the back porch, and everything else that goes along with it. If you read on the last page, it's, you know, the way they describe this: elegant, true custom masterpiece, reclaimed barn beams, rough sawn decorative boards, hand-pounded rough ironwork in the library and patio, pillow windows and doors, heart pine flooring, with a marble kit, counters, master marble bath, heated flooring, wolf countertops, oven, absolute top-of-the-line everything. Expect to be impressed. So this thing has coffered ceilings and a cathedral ceiling in the den with exposed wood beams. It's got a billiard room. It's gated with a pool, tennis court, clubhouse, and all that goes along with it. So I would say that this home is comparable to the other homes, with the exception of possibly the outdoor living spaces. And I haven't had time to review all that information and come up with what my indicated value would be, adjusting for that, but that's the information I have.
So you're saying if you revisit this and look at this, you might make a change in it, or?
Sure. Yeah, I might, once I look at the information they brought forward.
Okay.
And I would like to speak to their appraisal. The appraisal was I'll just read on my comp report on on page 2, and I'll go over that. I've done a summary there for you, and this is actually what I sent to the taxpayer. The Redfin comps that they submitted were all from 2021. This is the original information I received to go over when working the appeal. This is the information that I actually had in front of me. They sent in Redfin comps that were all from 2021 that we wouldn't have used. They were after our reappraisal date. And then they sent in an appraisal. I believe, Randy, you asked about the appraisal, the value on it. The appraisal was done, it was all comps from 2019. So we had information that was past the reval date, and we had information that was a little late, a little early. We would have liked to have seen some 2020. That's why I pulled comps from 2020 and came in at a higher value than their appraisal came in.
Okay. Dutch, you got any questions for Brad?
No, kind of where I am, I mean, to Mike's point, I'm looking at their appraisal versus where it is now versus what they're comparing it to and thinking there's maybe somewhere in between is kind of where I would be on it.
Right.
But I don't want to make the motion yet, but I'll maybe have us table it and let him revisit it and come back with another number. But
Just a general question. You mentioned when you first started talking about this, and I've seen this happen several times. You get a lot of stuff the day of the hearing or wherever, not enough time for you folks on staff to review all this, correct?
Correct.
Is that, you'd like to see it earlier, would you?
It would have been nice. I believe I sent this information last week and to the taxpayer. It would have been nice to have the information so I could review it. It may have saved us some time today. But yes, I haven't had time to review this.
Yeah. The other question I had was a comment. Is what you mentioned of all of these niceties that are in this home, the flooring, this, that, and the other. So you're saying that the other comps, as the appellant mentioned, they got outdoor this, outdoor that. That's fine. There's a value put on that. And you're saying that they've got stuff that maybe these other homes don't have. Maybe you haven't been inside these, and it's in this packet. Is that kind of where you're?
Correct. That's correct.
That's all I have.
Okay. I think, Mr. Crowe, Mr. Merrill, I think we'd like to table this thing and let you and Brad gather back up now that he's got this information that you provided and see if there's some kind of middle ground, unless you disagree.
I want to apologize, I didn't have time to get the information ahead of time. I do work and
Sure.
This is like a full-time job going through all this stuff. So I do apologize I didn't get it to you in time. And the stuff when I did the appeal was that I sent in the appraisal that I had. That's basically the closest thing I had to it at the time. And I did send in some comps that I didn't realize I couldn't really use those.
Okay.
Well, I do want to add, though, that if you looked at, I did do 3 comps that were in the neighborhood that didn't have pools, and they were 162, 164 square foot. So if you're trying to say we're somewhere in the middle, let's say if you're somewhere between 200 and 162, if you go let's say 175 a square foot, that's still what his appraisal is. So, I mean, yes, I'll probably be in the middle between square footage, but when you're looking at county using way high upgrades, I mean, not just indoor and outdoors, one-of-a-kind houses, and these 3 that are in the neighborhood that sold within the year. So I'm fine with him saying that the comps and the appraisal were 2019. I used the software that the county uses and found 3 that were in the neighborhood that were sold in 2020.
Okay.
And they sold for 164 square.
Now, does he have that information yet? The 3 comps you mentioned?
Yeah, it should be on this figure.
Yeah, I received that this morning.
Okay, but you hadn't had time to review it yet?
Look at it.
Okay. All right, so do I hear a motion that we table this?
I'll make a motion that we table the request to give time for the appellant and the county to review the updated information.
Do I hear a second? Second by Mike. All in favor, say aye. Like sign, no. Thank you. Mr. Crowe, tell you that I said hello.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to tab number 4, parcel ID number 08282-010A SD Mastery Inc., Mr. Miguel Sanchez.
This property is going to be in the northern part of the county, up in the Fairview School area district. This road here is 218. This is there's a roundabout right here. This is Mill Grove and 218. And I think this is Crowell Dairy Road, so it's at the corner of Crowell Dairy, if I'm not mistaken, in Mill Grove. And this would be 218 right here, just north of the property.
So it's close to the, close to Mill Grove Methodist Church?
Yes, sir, it'd be. But there you go, you can see the roundabout.
Yeah.
And there's the water tower on 218 in the roundabout. And he is just south of that. If I can get this to, trying to zoom in for you.
Belma, this is case 6.
Number 4.
Okay, you didn't have 4 as being here.
They came late.
No problem, okay.
Sorry.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. How you doing?
Fine.
If you see, you see us bring a letter from the economy, how everybody lost, almost lost houses in California. They helped to pay the mortgage and the mortgage and rental because they almost lost the houses because it's overvalued everything, and what I say, I'm working for Classica Homes, I'm working for Taylor Morrison of Bonterra, and they closed for 100 days. They don't sell no more because they think it's gonna be the recession come and the house is gonna fall down. But this is what they say, they close the doors, they don't sell no more houses for the next 100 days. So everything is overvalued, and I think my house from the last 3 years is $350,000, the taxes, and now it's 606 is like $256,000 more. And I bring a couple of pictures of the houses around my house, behind, the left side, right side, and the house is very small. The house in the corner of Crow Dairy Road is on sale for a couple of months for $215,000, and they don't sell. And the property on left side on Mill Grove is 8 acres. They put it on 200, and they reduced to 150, 559, because the soil is no good. It's all rock, no perk test. And behind my property is 2 little houses. The value is, $50,000, $60,000. I don't know how much it is, the value. So I think it's complete overvalue from 1 year to other one, $256,000 is incredible. And also I take a little record from that one is not subdivision, but I take a little record from Stonebridge subdivision, and they had houses on 400 and something, and almost the same square feet, but inside of the subdivision. This one is outside, there's no nice houses outside. It's small and all ugly houses, you know, it's not pretty good value. And what I see is the taxes is so high. Right now, I don't have any work because they closed the doors. Those companies I was working for, they don't sell no more. And I think it's real high. And I'll bring a copy of the plan of the square feet. There's you have is 3,000 something, not 3,500, 3,100 something plus the garage. So I need help.
Okay. Ray, you have any questions, Mr. Sanchez? Dutch?
The only question or point you make about these national builders pulling back some,
I'm sorry?
you're making comments about these national builders pulling back some and not selling homes.
They don't sell. They have scared to the people bring the houses back to them.
And I reckon the point I'm trying to make there, I mean, this is as of 1/1/21, so anything they've decided, you know, after that date.
Well,
Yeah.
they asking for mortgage to the banks and build houses.
Right.
And they sell to the people. If the people, they give it to them, the houses, they have too much money on the market. They asking 1 million or whatever, 500 to build a house, and they sell for 550. But when they return the house, the bank, or whatever the value is 300, they continue owe to the bank 500. So no matter if they take the house back, they lost 200,000. And this is why they say, hey, stop. We don't build no more houses because
They see a day of correction coming, is what you're saying, you know. But
Well-
let me ask you another question too. Are these some secondary improvements that you have on your property, kind of at the back of the property? Are those some additional buildings or something you have back there? Someone don't remember what they're
Yep. Is that a shop or is that a?
yeah, it's a little like for my horses. It's like a little barn, like a barn in the backside.
So, and I'm assuming you also operate your business out of this property, right?
Yeah, I'm working on a brick mason, and yes, I put my equipment right there.
Mike, you got anything?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Sanchez, we'll hear from the county. Thank you for coming.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Okay, so at the informal level, we sent a sales comparable report back to the taxpayer, and it came in at 612,600. You probably don't have that one in front of you, but he's at 606,900. So it came in about six grand higher than what he was assessed at. When he appealed to the board, continued on, he made a statement that, you know, my property's not in a subdivision. You compared mine to some subdivision, some properties that sold in some subs and some platted areas. And I have some, you know, I'm in a rural area and I have, you know, smaller homes around me. So I took that into account and I reran it, some sales comparables, and I pulled the most comparable sales I could in the same school district as the subject. And so, as you know, in any rural area, and he submitted photos of some smaller homes and stuff that was surrounding him. That's part of living in a rural area. You have no control over what's going to be built next to you. It may be a small house, it may be poultry houses. So that's the comper that you have in front of you today is the latter one that is from the rural area. It actually came in higher than the original sales comparable. It came in at a 770, 200 valuation. He's, again, at 606, 900. He made mention to the measurements, the square footage of his property. Last reappraisal, it was appealed, and we went out and measured it from the outside and went upstairs, got inside of it, everything. It's been measured at least twice, once when it was new and once during the last appraisal. So a lot of times the plans will not be all the way to the exterior siding. If you look at it, the framing measurements. So that could be, that's probably the difference in the square footage. So again, we go to the actual exterior siding. So if you'll go to the comps, all the comps again are from the surrounding platted area or unplatted area of Fairview. They're all of the like quality to the subject. The subject is 3,592 square foot, and you'll see the comps are all fairly close, with the exception of comp number 5. It's a little bit smaller, about 1,200 square foot. But comp number 1, being the most comparable of all the comps, is less than 2 miles away. The subject has 5.6 acres. Comp number 1 has 5.6 acres.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think we have the right comp sheet.
I don't either.
Oh, you don't have that one?
Yeah, I was looking for comp 5.
Yeah, I'm not-
Comp 5,
yeah.
and I said, well, I don't see comp 5.
And then the acreage on comp 1 doesn't match.
Okay, well, you do not have the most updated. Okay, I probably have that. Well, let me
Robin, can
pass,
you-
I can
Robin.
pass this around to you, but comp number 1 is about 60 square foot larger, same acreage, within 2 miles, all same quality, sold for $675. And we have $606 on the property, on the subject. So let me pass this around. Thank you, Rob.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to take a minute and make copies?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make copies.
Okay.
Take a real short break.
That pretty much concludes, once you get the paperwork, that'll conclude my presentation.
Mr. Sanchez, do you have any idea how big or how large your exterior building is on the back of the property?
Not really exactly, but probably it's 3 posts, probably 3 posts in each in the roof, probably maybe the 20 or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Do you have, is there any living quarters in that building? I mean, do you have like a bedroom or anything for,
No,
or,
I don't know, it's just only shell.
okay.
It's open, the whole thing's open, only 3 posts on the left side, 3 posts on the right side,
Okay.
and the roof.
Is there a way to zoom in and look at it to get a better?
You got the size one.
Yeah, I do. We have 2 buildings listed, one a pole building, built 2010, 22 by 29, and a second, a 3-sided open pole building,
Yeah, that,
That's better.
56 by
Yeah, I see what you're, yeah.
I think it just added, all added on together there in the back.
yeah. Yeah, that gives me a better idea what's better. I couldn't
Yeah.
really tell
Yeah.
from the look.
I believe they have the horse rinks back here.
Oh, less than $10,000 on the outbuildings.
We don't have much money on those at all.
Okay. Completely off the subject, how many horses do you have?
3 and 1 baby.
Okay.
Looks like there's one taking a nap in the picture.
Looks like he is laying down, doesn't it?
Thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you. I'll thank you for getting the copies.
Thank you. All right, Brad, start again on this.
Okay.
You tried to fool us there on that.
Yeah, I was throwing you a curveball.
Yeah.
All righty. So this is the compa report that I pulled the second time around after, once he appealed to the board, saying that the first time some comps were pulled that were in platted areas. And they were, up there in Tallwood and some surrounding areas. I think some comps did come out of those platted subdivisions. So I pulled comps, and again, they were pulled just because they were more comparable to the subject in size and quality. But I took and pulled from, found, make sure I'm telling you right, found 5 that I felt fairly confident about within the Fairview unplatted neighborhood, the same as the subject. They're all of like quality, and I was just referring to comp number 1 being the most comparable, of course. It's less than 2 miles away. It's pretty much the same acreage, 5.6 acres for the subject and comp number 1. The main area on the subject is right at 3,600, is 3,592, and comp number 1 is 3,656. So you see it sold for 675, and we have 606.9 on the subject, and you can continue, and it is the most comparable. But you know, we have 5 comps there, all weighing in, which give us a grid estimate of 770,200, which we're not coming here today requesting, you know, to change its value to 770, of course. We're just contending that the value we have originally on the property seems to be fair and equitable with surrounding properties in that neighborhood.
Ray, any questions for the county? Dutch?
No, I'm good.
Mike? Thank you.
Yes. Tab number 5 is a no-show, parcel ID number 06231-001A. That is a no-show.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to tab number 6, parcel ID number 06204-218.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Refresh my memory, you're in Providence Downs as well? Correct. So this property is also in Providence Downs, same community that our Mr. Morrell was in. So you're going to be, it's in Marvin. And you can see the subject there.
Good morning, Ms. Glass.
Good morning. Good morning. I personally feel, in my view, that our property has, the property value is overly assessed. And in looking at the comps that were presented by the county, several of them were for homes that were built in 2017 and 2020. For example, they were newer homes. Our home was built in 2005, so it's 16 years old. And inherently, new homes carry higher market value than older homes. So in that sense, I don't feel that those comps are justified comps. Our home, again, 16 years old, has a lot of things that detract from its value because of its age. It has an original roof, which needs to be replaced. And from my understanding, that can be as much as $30,000 or more. We need to replace 2 HVAC units, which are also costly. We have in the kitchen, original appliances, our refrigerator is the same age and will need to be replaced, 16 years old. We have GE appliances. In several of the comps, the appliances reflect a higher brand, such as Thermador, which is considerably higher value than a GE, for example. All of the comps presented by the county, every single one, reflect a 3-car garage. We have a 2-car garage. And in fact, most people looking in this price point to buy a home demand a 3-car garage. We actually thought it was going to be a 3-car garage because the list price of our home at the time said 3-car garage, but it is actually a 2-car garage. So that is a big detractor from its value. And in addition to just having a 2-car garage, our driveway grade is very steep. So we have experienced this in the short time we've lived here, that a lot of people that come over to our house actually don't even want to come up our driveway. They park on the street and walk up the hill because they're a little bit afraid of our driveway. So that is a detractor. The comps presented by the county do not reflect any similar driveway. The county did present a comp recently, a few days ago. I received your comp of a property because that was more in a similar age as ours in Providence Downs that sold for over $1 million. Let me just say that particular property has a lot of curb appeal and it has a lot more features than ours in the sense of it has dual staircases, it has a separate foyer, and I can give you a list of the things it has. What I have enclosed in the packet that I gave you is a list of properties in Providence Downs that have sold in the time frame that we're discussing from January 1st, 2020, actually up till now. Properties that have sold in Providence Downs that are the same square footage and roughly, give or take, and also similar age as mine. And all of those properties sold under $1 million. So while there are properties in Providence Downs that have sold over $1 million, there are plenty of properties that have sold under $1 million, and particularly the ones that are at the age point and square footage that are ours, that is like ours. I did enclose that for you, and I also enclosed, because one of the comps that was presented by the county was a comp from Providence Downs South, which is actually a different community just down the road. And Providence Downs South's sales on average are higher than homes that are sold in Providence Downs. And I included a statistic on that for you just to show you. So not only was the Providence Downs South comparable presented by the county a newer home, but it also was in a neighborhood that sells at a higher value on average than Providence Downs. It just has a higher perceived, cachet or something about that neighborhood. The other thing I wanted to point out about our street on Bridle, unlike the previous gentleman who was presenting his home in Providence Downs, he is in the main section of Providence Downs where the community center is, the pool and all of the activities presented by the community center. On Bridle is sort of a separate street. It was not originally part of Providence Downs. It was way back during the 2008 financial problems. The builder went debunked, and anyway, they sold, you all know more about this than I do, but I guess Unbridled was sold to Providence Downs and became part of the Providence Downs community. It was not originally part of the Providence Downs plan, but point is that Unbridled is separated from the main section of Providence Downs community, so you have to actually get in your car and drive over to the main section of Providence Downs to access the community center and whatnot. So that is also a detractor just in terms of its market value. People like to be in the main section of PD. And other than that, I mean, again, I just, the one house, there aren't a lot of comps on Unbridled in the time frame that is being discussed here. There was one that sold, that the county presented, and that one sold for $175 a square foot, which is lower than every other comp presented by the county. So again, that just reinforces my claim about Unbridled itself. The street itself has a lower value compared to the rest of Providence Downs, and a lower value compared to the comps that were presented. So I ask for your reconsideration of our assessment and a reassessment and a new value, a lower value presented. And that's it.
What are you recommending that the value be?
In my view, just looking at the list I gave you, I mean, I see it somewhere in the nines. You know, I don't know an exact value, but somewhere like in the mid-nines is what I would think. And again, as I pointed out on the front page, we've lived in the house 4 years. I mean, our assessed value last year, and I know prices have gone up, but to go from $845,800 to over $1 million just seems, it's nearly a $200,000 jump. It seems like a very large jump. So I understand that there needs to be an increase. I just ask that something more reasonable reflecting everything I've just mentioned. And in my view, I see it in the nines.
Mike, you got any questions for Ms. Glass?
No, sir.
Dutch, you got any questions?
The comps that you gave us here, and I'm just trying to get these streets right.
Sure.
Man o' War Drive is in Providence Downs.
That is correct. And Man of War is in the main section that I was just describing where the community center is, and that's the main part of Providence Downs. Unbridled is on the other side of Crane, so you have to actually get in your car, go up to Crane Road to get into the main section of Providence Downs.
Okay.
We're kind of a separate little street on its own, but just became part of the Providence Downs community.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. I got you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ray?
Yes, ma'am. You bought the house in 2017
Correct.
for round numbers, about 900,000.
It was 892.
Pardon me?
892, yes.
So we're talking a value for 2021, so you realize has been a big increase in prices since 2017. You paid almost 900,000 for it, right?
I realize that the market is in a fervor right now, that there is a heated market going on right now. I also realize that this could be a bubble, and prices it happened in 2008. And I know from experience that if the prices drop, God forbid, because of a bubble, we're not going to get a lower tax rate likely. Okay. I'm not asking to not increase our taxes. I'm just asking, I feel that it is inflated.
Okay.
That's
Thank
all.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Ms. Glass. We'll hear from the county now.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the property is on Unbridled and it's part of Crane Valley. To speak to what Ms. Glass had mentioned about her neighborhood being not part of the main part of Providence Downs, you know, I did pull a second. I took to heart what she said in her appeal to the board. Again, we'd sent her a comp report to begin with, so I did it again. and I pulled only comps from Crane Valley, the actual small portion, or what's called a phase of Providence Downs, if you will, where she's located. So it's, let me get this to work. But anyway, every comp I pulled here, and comp number 4 is on Unbridled, but the other three are in Crane Valley, Sunday Drive, Whiskey Drive, and Carnegie Drive. All part of Providence Downs, Crane Valley. The subject was built in 2005. She made mention of that in her appeal to the board, that the comps were not similar. So I was able to pull 2, and I was trying to keep it to within her phase of Providence Downs, because she made mention of that, and try to get as close to her year build as possible, trying to be as equitable and comparable to her property as possible. I was able to get 2 comps, comp number 1 and comp number 4, built in 2006 and 2005. The subject was in 2005. Yes, I did have comp 2 and 3 were newer, built in 2017 and 20, but that's just what I had to choose from the year 2020 in the sales. All comps are pretty comparable in size. Any adjustment?
I would like to mention the newer ones have significant discounts.
They do.
Due to that age difference.
Yeah, they do. The comp are always, and that's one thing I'm sure y'all, I don't always mention that. I assume you've been through this enough now that you realize the comper does adjust for age, for any other improvements that we have listed. I'll mention, and for square footage. And comp number 1 sold for about $20,000 less than what we have on the subject. And it is always the most comparable comp number 1. It's 800 square foot less than the subject, and sold for only 20 grand less than what we have listed on the subject. She made mention of the 3-car garages. I took that to heart as well. I tried to narrow this down to the 4 most comparable ones, and comp number 1 has less square footage in the garage than she does. Comp number 3 has less square footage in the garage than she does. Comp number 4 has less square footage in the garage than she does. So, try to take everything into consideration that she mentioned. I don't feel that 3-car garage is still an issue. I don't feel like the year built is still an issue. I don't feel like location is still an issue. The comper comes in at 1.149. We're at 1,043,900.
Can I speak to that, or am I allowed to speak to that?
Not yet. And I don't mean to be curt. Brad, you got any questions?
No, sir.
Dutch?
I don't have any.
That's right. Thank you, Brad. Now you may.
Thank you. Do you want me to come back up?
Sure.
First of all, I just do want to speak to the garage. You can look at the square footage of a garage and say, okay, this has more square footage. But if it does not fit a 3rd car, there's no point. So we have a little extra space in our garage for, some tools and the typical things you would find in a garage, but it is not big enough for a 3rd vehicle. I am talking about a garage, no matter what the square footage is, if it fits 3 vehicles, that is what somebody is looking for. So there is a difference between a 2-car and a 3-car garage in terms of that. The other thing I just wanted to point out, everything may be in Crane Valley, but again, one of the comps is in Providence Downs South, which is not Providence Downs. Those are 2 different communities. PDS, Providence Downs South, again, has a higher, and I enclosed that in the packet, it has on average a higher sales price for the same square footage, same age, same everything, sells for a higher, it just is perceived as a higher end neighborhood over Providence Downs. So they sell higher price there. So I don't feel that that comp is even presentable. The one that you just recently presented after I had filed the appeal, and you came back a few days ago, last Friday, and sent me a copy of a new comp, which is now comp number 1. I agree that would be one in the neighborhood. The difference with that one, and that's close, I agree, but it's a full brick exterior. We have synthetic stucco. And that was another thing I wanted to point out, is all the other comps presented by county show either full brick exterior or hard stucco. We have synthetic stucco, which is not supposedly as durable as the others. So this number one comp has full brick exterior, it has dual staircases, which is an appealing feature to a buyer to have a front and back staircase in this price point. It has, again, a stone-to-ceiling fireplace, two open family area that's stone-to-ceiling fireplace and two-story family room. It has the outdoor fireplace, built-in grill, all that stuff. It has 7 bathrooms. It goes on and on. And what I find about that one even more so, is it has curb appeal. Again, our house being that the 2-car garage, you can see from the street, has a steep grade driveway, exceedingly steep, and it doesn't have the curb appeal that this particular comp number one has. So that gives comp number one an edge. If you just look at what I enclosed in the packet of all the homes that have sold in the time frame we're discussing, under $1 million, that are the similar age and similar square footage as mine, there are plenty that have sold under $1 million. So again, my point is, there are some that have sold over, like comp number one, but there are quite a few that have sold under. And again, I just ask you to revisit the features that I've pointed out in my list to you in the packet of our home and the detractors of our home. And I think it falls more into the category of the list I gave you of the houses that sold under $1 million that are the similar age and square footage. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad, do you have something else?
I was just curious.
Need to come up.
Well, I was just curious, as more of a question for Ms. Glass, about which one of these comps was from the products down south.
And Conanade, 2012 Conanade.
Okay, so we have it as being in Crane Valley, but I was just curious.
Well, I don't know about Crane Valley, but its neighborhood is Providence down south.
Okay, just.
Thank you.
all I had.
All right, Bella.
Tab number 7, parcel ID number 08153-018, CSR Builder Trust, first and second.
Yes. Okay, this property is going to be also in the Piedmont/Fairview area. This is Unionville Brief Road, 218. This is 601 intersection here at the convenience store, right here where the hand is. So if you come up 218 east, I believe this to be Unionville Brief Road. There's some type of ag supply store or manufacturer here. You come down south to Tesh Road, and the property's on the right. Used to be some old poultry houses. And it appears as if there may still be one on there. There you go.
All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
I appreciate the time you're taking to listen and hear me. See, I was born in a country in Soviet Union when no one listened to you, when everything was decided for you, and if you appeal, you go to jail. And I'm so glad I'm in this country that I don't go to jail for this. But I have a point to make that I built this house from scratch, okay? 50% of this house, I put my sweat and blood into it. And I have 2 hernias because of this. And I had to go through surgery. It's my baby that I built myself. I designed it myself, I built myself, and I didn't spend that much money to build it. It cost me about $500,000 to build this house. I feel that I get taxed for what actually I didn't pay for. I know it's a dilemma in this market, and I'm real estate agent. Okay, I know this market. This market is tough. This is a hard job for Mr. Helms to appraise. It's hard to appraise at all. It's just hard because there are no houses on the market. That's why I received 2 comparables, not comparables, 2 sets of comparables, because it's hard to determine how much this house costs because there are no houses on the market. Few houses on the market, they got overpriced. That's where you get your value, but this is not true value. If we will have more houses in the market, then we will have more close value, close true value to a house. And I cannot agree with this because in 2 miles radius, you can find anything compared to. You have to go a little further. You have to see houses a little further to see, at least to compare to something. I have a lot, about 10 acres lot, and I built house 4,460 square feet. And it's hard to find house like this. I did my analysis to see how much my house could cost, and I found some comparables to a little further, around $500,000, $550 maybe. And yes, you can find for even more, but you have to look for upgrades. What I did, I built a shell, I invested in a brick, I paid company to build a brick that I can keep up because I didn't build this house to sell. I built it for my family to have farm cows and sheep and goats and stuff like this. And this street is a dead-end street, and what we have on our street, just little small houses, and it's basically a white elephant in this neighborhood where we don't get nothing from Union County. We don't have, my wife is a full-time teaching my kids at home. We don't have even good internet in that neighborhood. And when people looking for house, they want good amenities. The water was so bad that we have to invest in a softener system. The land is, I thought it's a bad deal because when we got this land, we couldn't find any place to put septic in. I was fighting for the septic to get at least something because there was an old house, 2-bedroom house on that property, and I had to hire an engineer to expand it somehow. And I was able to even build this big house to get only 3 bedrooms into it. It was a tough process to do it, and I tried to do everything possible for my family to have better living and to have country living, to have a little farm. But now when it comes to taxes, it hurts because to pay around $500 a month just for taxes, it's a lot of money, and market is tough. And I always say it's so good that it's so bad because there are no houses for sale. I believe if we would have more houses for sale in our area, we could probably give true value to my property, but we don't.
What year did you occupy the house? What year did you complete the house?
We moved in November.
Oh, so it's been less than, okay.
Yeah, and I'm still working on it. I'm serious. I have to finish here and there just to have better living. But it's a process. It will take a long time. At least we moved in and we can live in the house. Yeah, and the second opinion on the market value I received, there are no houses like this. There are around 2,500 square feet houses. And the ones I found, yeah, they were around 500, 550. That's all I can say.
Ray, you have any questions? Dutch?
It looks like you pulled 3 comps, and did you notice 2 of those comps? They look to me like they're in Stanley County and not in Union
You
County.
know, I did look at it, I just, yeah.
Because you can't use
I found it
comps.
today when I heard you speaking to other people, I heard this. There's no way to find anything.
Well, yeah, it'd be tough.
4,500 square feet close by. No one sells. And houses we have, they're just older houses.
Yeah, they have to get something as similar as they can, and they will just have to make adjustments for it to adjust for the size. But another question, this, what looks like to be a poultry house
Yeah.
on there, what's going on to the right of it? Is that you doing some grading work there or something, or?
Yeah, there was a steep hill there right from the building.
Okay.
And we brought
leveling
some
it off.
dirt to level it off a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
And that poultry house, there was no value in it when I purchased it. It was
Right.
falling off. I had to jack it up, fix it, and paint the roof. It's still
you just
in rough
stored-
shape, but at least it's some kind of storage.
Yeah,
that
storage.
We can use, we can fix, use it in the future.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Mike, you got anything?
No.
Well, thank you, sir. We're in the county now.
Oh, thank you.
Well, first of all, I'll speak to, I can sympathize with Mr. Sergey here that I too have built several houses and out in the rural area, and you know, what you can build a home for, and you have your blood, sweat, and tears in it, is not always what market value is. And so when you have that sweat equity in a home, you know, that's what you build it for, is so you can come out on top. And so not trying to penalize him for that, it's just that we have to appraise it at fair market value based on the comparables that we have. So again, to Dutch's point on this, on the comparables that were presented by the taxpayer, 2 of them were in Stanley County, Stanfield, I believe, and the third one sold in 2019. So again, I ran the compa report again when he appealed to BER. It's different than the first one because I tried to take note of what he took exception to in his appeal. So again, made sure we did not pull any platted or houses from subdivisions. Pulled just strictly from the Fairview unplatted neighborhood. Well, that did limit me to smaller square footage homes. Unfortunately, his home is pretty large for the area, and it's a nicer home. We had it at a good quality, and if you notice on my comparables, I pulled good minus comps. I changed the grade of the subject to a good minus. I felt like it was slightly overgraded when I took a look at it. That brought the value down to the 730,600 from the original value of 801. So I made that adjustment before coming here today. I went ahead and that's where I'm at, is a 730,600 by changing the quality down. And that's the quality of the comps that I pulled was a good minus. And it does indicate a value of 835.2. It makes all the adjustments for the that we discussed on the previous appeal for the square footage and age and whatnot. So felt like this is the best comps we had, taking in consideration the information that the taxpayer made mention to in his appeal. That's pretty much all I have.
Okay. Mike, you got any questions?
No, sir.
Dutch?
Yeah, was he aware of the change in value?
Yes, sir. I spoke to him this morning and had sent him an email, I believe last week, but I think he said he didn't spam, must have kicked it out or something,
Right,
so I talked to
okay.
him about it this morning.
Okay.
Okay. Ray, you got any questions?
And did he indicate his opinion of value to you?
I think he said around 500,000.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks, sir. Beg your pardon? Sure.
Mr. Hans mentioned that we have to find true value of the house, but I just want to mention, you cannot find true value if there is no true comparables. And you cannot find true comparables. It's a problem. And if I'm in a neighborhood where smaller houses, people who wants to buy it, they're always gonna look at it like this. I sold property before as a white elephant. People come and they wanna pay less price because no amenities, all houses rough, no one wants to drive through these neighborhoods, and that's where I am. And I'm willing to leave because I like to live this country style living. That's why I built a house in this neighborhood. But I don't think this is the true value because no true comparables. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, the next tab on the agenda is tab number 8, the parcel number 062010003H. Brad has been in contact with the taxpayer. We do have a new opinion of value on the property. It does reflect the taxpayer's opinion of value, but we don't have a confirmation that it's a staff recommendation. Normally on a staff recommendation, we would have something in writing from the taxpayer saying they accepted that value. We do not have that in this case. So we can't consider it to be a no-show because he's in Chicago and he had no intentions of coming. But we do have a new opinion of value.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So we're ready to deliberate now? Hearing number 1, parcel ID number 08234-003.
This is Ms. Dees with the property that had a mobile home park on it. We had a I guess a disagreement. She don't think it's income produced property. I tend to disagree.
Well, not only the income off the trailers, but, well, the mobile home sites, but the income off the farming part of it. She wasn't willing to, or she didn't agree that she should.
To me, the value was just centered in the land anyway. I mean, and if you just do the rough math on it, I think it came up to 29,000 an acre, which probably in that part of the county really isn't out of kilter too bad. I just didn't see anything that she presented to us that I could hang my hat on.
All right.
And do I hear a recommendation that we accept the value
So
from the
moved.
county?
So moved.
Second.
I hear a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Like sign, no. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, who was the second?
Dutch made the motion, Ray, and Mike made the second.
Okay, thanks.
So we tabled number 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Hearing number 4, parcel ID number 082820108.
I think the county has a good value on that property based on the data they generate.
I agree.
Yeah, and, which really called for a higher number. But the county's, I think, left it at, what, 6069, is that correct? And I didn't see anything that I had that would make me think otherwise to recommend a change. I would, I mean, what do y'all think?
You're right.
I make a motion, we on tab 4 that we remain with the county value of 6069.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Like sign, no. Thank you.
Tab number 5, hearing number 5, 0623100018, that is a no-show.
I'm suggesting that we go with the county on their value. Do I hear a motion that we accept that?
Make a motion.
Got a motion from Mike,
Second.
second by Dutch. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign, no. Thank you.
Hearing number 6, parcel ID number 06204218.
I think she was really leaning on the lesser sales in her area and rather than the, I call them median sales in her area or the higher sales.
And they ended up, the only note I had on it, they keep talking about Providence down south. Providence down south's on the other side of 16. I mean, it looked like to me all the comps were in Crane Valley. I mean,
Well, what is that? That's Crane Road, but Providence Downs is on Crane Road too.
right.
So she's, I mean, she's basically right across the road from.
Yeah, and I don't know,
I
maybe
don't see where that's
in
got.
all the comps, if she was looking on that system, there might have been 20 comps in there, and one of those might have been in Providence down south. Is that what was maybe
Well, she was
the
saying
question?
she was saying the one on the street starts with the O.
I believe she said the character.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was
Yeah, that-
comp 3.
Yeah, no, I'm
So I
I'm
don't-
looking on the wrong.
Maybe it's on the backside.
I was at the wrong, I'm sitting on the wrong tab.
Yeah, I was too. I got to get
They
back there.
are all, I'm still on like that. They were all listed in our system as being within Crane Valley.
Yeah. That Colonnade or whatever. it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
It's the
said that
she
one was Providence
saying.
down south, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Let me look it up.
Well, I make a motion
Well,
we
and
accept
if you
the
look on
county's.
the first page, you can actually see the map. Two of them are on, that Crane Valley actually has 3 sides of that corner. 2 of them are where, one's on the corner she's on, 2 are across Newtown, one's across Crane, but they're all in Crane Valley,
Right.
Okay.
Right. Not Providence down south, which is off Henby Road.
which is
Yes.
just back
Yeah.
around about a mile around.
I've got a motion from Mike that we accept the county's value or suggested value.
Second.
We got a second by Ray. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Like sign, no. Thank you.
Hearing number 7, parcel ID number 08153018.
County's adjusted it, in my opinion, and then he didn't provide any information. 2 of the comps were out of the county, and
Well, you know, you put a little more work into something when you do it yourself.
right.
You sweat a little more, and like he said, 2 hernias,
Yeah,
I
he's
guess
paying, he's
that's.
paying for it with the hernias.
Well, I've run into the same situation. I built a shed,
It is all.
and I built it out of used material.
Right.
And the tax assessor come out there and said it didn't matter if I built it out
That's
of
right.
pickup sticks. It's square footage. If I'd been a
It's
little
worth
young,
something.
I'd been a little younger, I would have, me and him would have had a little bit more serious conversation. But anyway, my point
They
is,
still ask you to be on this board.
well, I didn't get ugly with him, but the point is, you know, it doesn't matter. I know you build it to save money, but still, it's got to be looked at as like any other property.
I make a motion, we accept the county's value.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I got a second by Dutch. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Like sign, no. Thank you. Hearing number 8.
So yes, Mr. Chairman, this is the one that I advised us not to mark as a no-show. So if you would just vote to
Okay.
accept the new value, I think that'll be fine.
All right, I think
I'll
like-
vote.
Yeah, go ahead.
I make a motion, we accept the new value of $750 for tab 8.
Motion by Dutch,
Second.
second by Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Like sign, no, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that takes us into our staff recommendations. Do you want to vote on them?
Yep, well, at the same time, do I hear a motion that we accept the staff recommendations on the remaining hearings?
So moved.
Got a second, first by Dutch, or second, excuse me, a motion by Dutch. Hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor, say aye. 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 Thank you, like sign, no, thank you.
I think that wraps up today's hearing.
Do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
So moved.
Got a motion, got a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. All in favor, say aye. Thank you.
Now, when exactly?
So,
do we
Mr.
meet?
Chairman, just as a
Monday.
reminder, next week, we do have Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Next week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Belma, are you sure?
Yes.
You like to keep us on our toes.
It's a moving target, ain't it, Belma?
Now, the Thursday meeting, is it a late meeting or is it?
It's 4:30. Did we adjourn? Yes, we did.